Hi, Samantha Hale from the Horror Nerds podcast here. I'm sorry, I'm so nervous. Jaws, hi. Wow, thank you so much for doing the show. You are literally the biggest celebrity we've ever had. I mean, lengths above anyone else. I'm sorry, I'm really excited. Oh, Bruce, call you Bruce. Right, because Spielberg named you Bruce after his lawyer, because you're a shark. I get it. Look, I'm not the only comedian, huh? That's great. What's that? Oh, Craig Nicotero from The Walking Dead fixed you up and brought you here? Oh my gosh. We love you, Craig Nicotero. Did you guys know that Bruce here actually sank the orca a couple times while filming? Yeah, that's so badass. Even though, Bruce, I don't know if you know this, but orcas are actually the apex predator of the oceans. I'm sorry. I'll shut the fuck up. I'm wrong. You're right. What's that, buddy? Oh, a couple of filming problems you had. Yeah, you had some buoyancy issues with salt water. Yeah, same. Girl, I get it. Bruce, it's been a real honor. Probably the biggest of my life. I would say maybe 20 feet of honor.
25. 3 tons on
them. Thank you so much. This is very exciting. Check out the Horror Nerds podcast, where we're going to be talking about how much we fucking love sharks.
Welcome to Horror Nerd, the podcast.
The very first film that I fell in love with was the very first summer blockbuster called Jaws. My buddy and I grew up thinking we were the greatest Jaws fans going. And then all of a sudden one day, a lovely gentleman named John came into my life. And I was first introduced to him as an alter ego called the Great Yeti of Boston and New England. But here's a tease. John is one of the most accomplished directors, producers that folks in horror respect beyond belief. And if you saw the documentary, It, the story of Pennywise, that is my friend John here. And John not only knows It, but John knows Jaws. So much so, in fact, he's one of the foremost experts on the film Jaws and about Martha's Vineyard and how their community helped contribute to that film. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to my friend, John Campopiano. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Not worthy of that welcome, but
I guess you are, because, I've been trying to get you on this thing for a while.
Well, you said it, not me.
Worth the wait, 100%.
So, John, we're both dads. We're both putting our kids to sleep. We finally had a chance to talk. And 2025 is a pretty significant year, especially for what I would consider the greatest film of all time, Jaws. And I know. I am making that claim because I believe it is 100% true, and I will go to my grave making that argument until John or one of us make the next great film. So, John, let's go back in time, because you and I, our social media feeds are very similar when it comes to nostalgia. Our childhoods truly influenced our trajectory. Tell me about the first time Jaws came on your radar.
I don't really remember when I started watching it, but the thing I do remember the most is when I was probably 7 or 8, going back into the video store, renting Jaws, Jaws 2, Jaws 3. And I remember the guy behind the counter saying to my parents, you'd save a lot of money if you just bought these movies for him. Because they didn't know. They're renting it every week. So Jaws has been omnipresent kind of in my world, so I don't have a touchstone moment when I first saw it.
We have the video store to thank for that.
I love Jaws 3. I think Jaws 3 was the first Jaws film I ever saw, and I don't know that that's true, but I have a visceral memory of seeing it on TBS, and it would always play in the theater. Yeah.
No way. In
That's
3D?
How old I am.
No, not in 3D. I wish.
Okay.
No, not in 3D. But I just remember seeing it. And then years later, when I got to meet Joe Alves and kind of get to know Joe, who directed Jaws 3, production designer on the first 2 Jaws films, I remember him saying, he has now said it, I think, a lot, but that scene of McCorkindale inside the shark's mouth and you got the POV of looking out, he wanted to do that for the first Jaws film. And they were like, you're insane. We can't pull this off. So by the time he got to direct a film he was like, I'm doing that shot of the guy getting chomped. And every time the teeth come down, there's a little bit more flesh and blood that escape. And so that was like Joe's moment of like, I'm finally doing this kill. Anyway, Jaws
Joe
3.
Alves is the unsung hero of all of that, of part 1, part
Yeah.
2 or what as well, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and part
Yeah.
3 was incredibly underrated because I think,
It was great.
imagine if the Quint kill happened and they used that POV.
I mean, it's hard to say now. I mean, it's perfect the way it is, but I think like, you know, hindsight's 2020, I guess. But Joe's amazing. I mean, he's worked with John Carpenter. He's done all the production design of epic films. I mean, he's a legend and just turned, I think, 90. We just saw him on the Vineyard.
He's 90 now?
Close to it. Yeah,
Oh
if not
my, he
90.
didn't look a bit of it.
Yeah. Well, he does
So-
yoga, so do yoga, kids.
That'll do it. That'll do it. So, John, when did the real presence of Jaws increase in your life and bring you into wanting to explore more about it? I mean, it's right in our backyard. If for folks that don't
Yeah.
know, John's in New England as well. I'm in Massachusetts. You're in Rhode Island, right?
Yeah, Providence, yeah.
Yeah. So we're all very close to Amity, so to speak, Martha's Vineyard. So tell me what really put that wind behind your sails to
I'm like, Bonnie and I live next to Universal Studios. Does that count?
We live next to that Amity
So
Island.
where are you guys? You're in...
We're in LA.
We're both in Los
Oh,
Angeles.
hell yeah, cool. Well, I think I started going to the Vineyard when I was a kid, mid-90s, and I just wanted to see where the movie was shot. You know, like I think I had an interest in filming locations and stuff. And, you know, there's nothing quite like sort of stepping into a scene that you've watched on film over and over and over again. And the Vineyard, Martha's Vineyard is special in that way because it's largely unchanged. And it's not a place that you just stumble into. You've got to take a boat. Like, it's a pain in the ass to get there. You've got to have like an intention, like you want to go there. So I wanted to go, and my parents took me, and we rented like this like really kind of shady looking van that had no windows. And this guy was like, I'll show you the Jaws locations. And my dad was like, great. And we drove around the island. And that was like the first taste I got. And then in 2005, they did the first Jaws Fest. This was like the first big Jaws event that the Chamber of Commerce put on. It was like an official thing. And I didn't know anybody in the Jaws community. So I went with a girlfriend at the time, and I went to like one of those kiosks in the mall that like will put anything you want on a t-shirt or a hat, you know, for $20. And so I had this picture of my Jaws collection at the time, and he put it on this t-shirt, this white t-shirt, and I wore that all weekend. And I really don't know or don't remember like what my intention was. I think I just was like, well, this is how people will just like, I can break the ice this way because I'm just like really awkward and I won't just like meet people on my own. So like, look, I have this stuff. And anyway, so like that led to a lot of introductions to people, and a lot of those people have become lifelong friends. And yeah, so that was like the start of meeting the Jaws community people, and then getting tapped into what was jawsmovie.com at the time, and like, you know, chat rooms and forums back in the early 2000s. And a lot of those people are still dear friends, you know, today, like Jim Beller, who I know, you know, Tony, and other, you know, so yeah, it was I'm glad I did it in hindsight because it opened the door to meeting other people. And yeah, so I don't know, that's how it started. And now it's just been, you know,
I'm hard pressed to find another area that embraces it that much. I mean, they named their minor league baseball team the Sharks, right?
Would you keep it down in there?
You wouldn't understand. Oh, whatever. Fine. I'll just play on my phone then. TikTok it is.
So I do have my own website, themagicoilbox.com.
The Magic Oil Box. Sounds interesting. Themagicoilbox.com. Oh my god. They have My Chemical Romance themed items? 3 cheers for sweet patchouli hand sanitizer for grounding, inner peace, and heart warmth. Add to cart. Ooh, the I Don't Clove You roller blend? Huh. Clever. For letting go, boundary setting, bold transformation, because not every flame deserves to be rekindled. Should I send this to my ex who keeps texting me? Add to cart. The Lavender Parade shower steamer. Cool. For rest, emotional restoration, soft resilience. Add to cart. Oh, there's a coupon code for Horror Nerds listeners. SLAYNERDS15. Slay Nerds 15 for 15% off. Cool. Now Mom and Dad definitely won't be mad at me. Check out.
Would you turn that off?
Shop the Ghouls Day Out collection from the Magic Oil Box, because it's not a phase.
Yeah, no, it's true. Now they do. I mean, when I was a kid going to the Vineyard, you didn't see any Jaws stuff. I think there was a period of time where there was, even if it was a subconscious thing, there was like a rejection to the notoriety of Jaws. And I think like the Vineyard's history is so interesting because, I mean, you know, it was when Jaws showed up in 74, it was like one of the poorest counties in Massachusetts. And now it's known as like the vacation hub of presidents. And it's, you know, but it was not that back in the 60s and the 70s. And before that, forget about it, whalers and fishermen. I mean, it was. So then the Kennedy accident happened on Chappaquiddick, right? Ted Kennedy, you know, and that put Martha's Vineyard on the map in a different way. And then Jaws showed up. And then Clintons showed up, and the Obamas showed up. So it has gone through this evolution. So now they seem to have embraced Jaws, where you get off the boat and there's Jaws t-shirts everywhere. I would have killed for that shit when I was a kid. Like, there was none of that when I was a kid. So yeah, I think like any tourist community, there's like a love-hate where it's like, wow, the people coming here maybe feed us, you know, for most of the year in 3 months, but also you clog our traffic. We can't get into a restaurant. The grocery stores are jammed. You know, so,
Yeah.
you know, the Vineyard's funny in that way. But
Yeah. Like Salem, I would imagine, is very similar.
totally.
Right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in even a smaller amount of time for Salem, it's like September and October.
Yeah.
At least the Vineyard, you've got like May to September.
Right.
But yeah, Salem, it's like cram it into like 7 weeks, 8 weeks. And, but it's good for the community. And I don't know.
Yeah, embrace it. Why not? I mean, my goodness. Yeah. It's almost weird. It's like a new wave of tourism and a new activity for horror fans. I don't know if it's like maybe in the past 20 years or so that it's been like, hey, let's go to the locations. This is the greatest idea ever.
Totally.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it's a newer concept, but and maybe it's with the internet, with YouTube and whatnot. I mean, you can Google anything and find out the actual address and just go there.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's the Nightmare on Elm Street house. Don't go there. The guy's a douche.
Yeah. I've
Not
seen.
anymore.
Yeah. And Breaking Bad. Maybe if you like Breaking Bad, maybe avoid.
Avoid that house.
Yeah.
Don't throw
I want
pizza on the
pizza.
roof. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, I think you're right. I think like it's, you know, I think filming location stuff has helped. And it doesn't hurt when it's a beloved film that transcends language and culture. And it's also a really beautiful place to visit anyway, that has like a built-in robust tourist industry ready for you to get off the boat and be taken care of. So it's a perfect storm in that way, I think. But
Right, right. I wonder if people ever show up like, all right, well, where are the sharks? Could we see a shark now? Ugh. I wouldn't be
It's gonna
surprised.
Probably.
fade. There's plenty of them over there.
They have, yeah.
What I love about the original Jaws is like, who's really the shark? Is it the town people? Is it the mayor? Who is the real one here? And I know we can get into another episode about the book versus the film, but I think Murray Hamilton in that played a perfect sketch mayor. in that.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And actually, one of my favorite jokes that works pretty well is just commenting on the fact that, so Murray Hamilton is, of course, the mayor in Jaws who doesn't believe there's a shark in the water. And in Amityville Horror, he's the priest who doesn't believe the house is possessed. So he's like that. Oh, no, we're good. We're fine. Carry on. He's that guy.
Been to both of those locations. So
Oh, gosh. I would love to see the Amityville
and
house.
then he gets voted back in office for Jaws 2. And I'm not making any connections. I'm just saying. I'm
We
just
all
saying.
know exactly what you mean.
I'm unbiased. I work for PBS. I'm just pointing it out.
foreshadowing, so to speak.
Nice. I
It
like it.
took about 50 years, but Bonnie, when you first got into Jaws, what got you into this realm?
I think it was just exposure therapy from my parents. I don't think my parents really had a sense of like, she's not old enough for this yet. If it was on, I was just watching it. But Jaws, I don't think scared me as much. You might have tried 100 platforms, each with hidden costs, plugins, multiple logins. But now there's Beamly. Drag and drop website, podcast hosting, online courses, memberships, digital products, and 0% platform fees. All your tools in one crypt. Place. Head to Beamly.com and raise your creator studio from the dead. In the best way. So exposure therapy from my parents, just having that on. My dad was a big horror guy. My mom, not as much. So my sister and I, we love horror because of our dad. But also those like fruit snacks from the 90s, you know, those like shark fruit snacks,
But yeah, totally.
fruit snacks.
But yeah, totally.
Look, ask a fat kid. We remember those. Like
The blue
those
and white
were
ones? They were
peak,
blue
the
and white?
white. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, those were like, oh, they can't be that scary because like these fruit snacks are really good. So that's kind of
Yeah.
where I was at with that. But I have an invitation to go eventually, fingers crossed, to Martha's Vineyard. Some friends have property out there, and I can't wait to go.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
That's good property to have, I find.
Hang on to those friends.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
you know, if I don't
Not to
bungle
sound
this
bad in, like-
relationship, I'll go.
Hybrid.
Cool. I love Mako sharks, you guys. I would love to see a Mako.
When was your first professional trip to the Vineyard for Jaws work?
2016.
Tell me about that. How'd that trip go?
Well, this project that became The Farmer and the Sharks started as something different. We wanted to do like a multi-part docudrama series about the making of Jaws. And so we had always had an interest in looking at the local impact on the production. So like the Jaws production showed up from Hollywood in 1974, and they quickly realized that they were not equipped to deal with tides, boats, local politics, Boston selectmen, Vineyard selectmen, the Teamsters from Boston. So it took like a huge effort from the locals to step up and help save that production that was over budget and, you know, everything everybody already knows about it. So the idea was to tell that story. So our team went and started filming interviews like around 2016, 2017. So that was the first time we went over like with cameras and had a mission. It wasn't just like, I'm going to go lay face down on the beach and enjoy myself. This was like, we're working. So yeah, right around then.
So first of all, jealous as hell. Would have loved to be
You say
on
that.
There's a story behind the story always, isn't there?
Especially with Jaws, nothing's ever easy. You sign it, you know what you're signing up for. It's not going to be.
Well, if you're teasing us with that, you know, that's a
No,
story in itself.
there's a complicated history just in that, like, you know, the project evolved, it stopped, it went forward. We had a producer that passed away unexpectedly, which was really tragic. It's just been a slog. And so the vision has changed over time based on what we could do, based on finances and, you know, you name it. Then COVID happened, right? So like 3 years after we started, then everything kind of happened with COVID. So it's the North Star was always the 50th, right? The moment we're living now, because we knew that the 51st anniversary of Jaws was not going to be as sexy sounding. No one would give a shit at that point. So the North Star was always like hitting this anniversary. So it's been hard. With a clock ticking over your shoulder of like this, you got to do it for this summer. So it's just been hard, but it's also, we've talked about this before, Tony. It's like day jobs, families, you know, indie filmmaking is always like, you know, my co-producer likes to remind me that time and money is not infinite. So you just have to do it and it's going to be what it's going to be. And there's a lot of favors. There's a lot of your own money spent, you know, it's not glamorous in any way.
Indie filmmaking, I like to call the crowbar work, because you're either using the crowbar to get more time to wiggle it in, or you're using a crowbar to break into a vault to get more money. That's the way I look at independent film.
Yeah.
And documentaries especially, it's a labor of love. It's love. You have to love it or you're gonna cry a lot. Did you ever find that there were people you were interviewing that you were hoping to get one story from and they just went off the rails and you had to kind of work the moment?
Definitely. Yeah. I think with unscripted film work like documentaries, it's hard because like you fall in love with a subject and you kind of, even with the best of intentions, you kind of create the narrative in your head of where you kind of hope the story goes. But then you go interview people. Like I've always said that I feel like documentary interviews are like, it's like archaeology. Like the story is in there. You just sort of need to find it. What you want it to be is sort of irrelevant. If you're going to be true to it, you need to sort of just let it be. And so in the early stages when we were working on this other project that is what this became, you know, we shot like 35, 40 interviews before the project kind of fell apart and evolved. So then it became like square peg, round hole of like, well, we've got all these interviews. How do we make it work with this new direction that we can get into if you guys want? But like, it's always been kind of a challenge of how do we just sort of finesse it into something that is coherent and cohesive.
Hey, Sam, what are you doing on April 25th?
Oh, I'll be going to the Sugar and Moon Market at the Lodge in Sierra Madre.
Wow, that's oddly specific. But actually sounds like a lot of fun. What are you doing there?
Okay, so I'm going to be picking up some sage butter from our friend and sponsor, the Mountain Crone.
Oh, that sounds awesome. Can I come with?
Yeah, duh. I already got you a ticket, B.
Sweet. Well, that's kind of spooky. You read my mind. Oh, that's funny. I'm actually going to see her at Mount Low Brewery Company. Whew, try saying that 5 times fast. On May 9th to pick up some restocked lip balms. Because with all this talking we do, my lips are going to look like the Crypt Keepers if I don't hydrate them.
I like the Crypt Keeper's lips. Hey, can you pick me up on the way over?
Yeah, sure. I'll go grab my keys.
So we're kind of on the other side of it now, thankfully. So it's more fun to be talking to you guys now than it would have been like 14 months ago. But yeah, it's been a challenge, but I think we've got a great team. It's taken a village, and yeah, we're just happy to be kind of at this point where
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see this.
Yeah.
I literally feel like I've been just like watching this journey of yours through making this film and all the roadblocks, the joy, the tragedies, and just seeing it come to fruition is just, as a fan of John and a friend of John, I am so happy we're at this moment right now.
Well, thanks, man. Most of our post-production is happening in the UK. I mean, it's a literal army of people that have stepped up to make this happen. Yeah, it's been wild.
I remember when you were holding Quint's rifle.
Wow.
And back when you were doing interviews years ago.
God, years ago. Yeah.
You had, did you have Quint's rifle? Did you have the harpoon gun as well, as if I'm not mistaken?
The harpoon gun, yeah.
The
So
actual
cool.
one.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Now
my
I'm
God.
peanut butter and jealous. That's awesome.
There's a lot of props still out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bonnie and I are very lucky that we're here next to the Academy Museum. I did a conversation with Bruce where I just talked to Bruce. Like, he's our other celebrity guest. You and Bruce are going to be
Is
our
this the
guests.
one Greg Nicotero redid that's
Yeah.
hanging?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
God. He looks beautiful. Nicotero knocked it out of the
He
park.
did. Yeah.
And it's really cool because it's just, it's hanging from the ceiling and it's right next to an escalator. So you can get right up pretty close to it. If I could have put my head in it, I would have. I was that close. But it's just really incredible to see it in person. And, I know it's been there for a little bit and there were other people walking around like, I'm going to go to the Toy Story exhibit. I'm like, screw you. I am staying here with Bruce and I'm only here for Bruce. And actually, like, when I went to buy my ticket, I had called earlier just to ask about like what the hours were. And she's like, were you the one that called about Bruce? I'm like, can you tell that I'm nerding out? She's like, yes, I can. And then she gave me an incredible discount. And it was so great. It was really, I felt like a little kid, just like, oh, I really felt like I was seeing a celebrity. I really legit felt like I was meeting a big star. It was a
Yeah.
big deal.
I get
I
it.
feel like if you
totally.
have a shark tattoo, then you should get free admission.
Well, she looked at me and she's like, you look scholarly. So she gave me some sort of like college professor discount or something. I said, I'm a scholar of horror. Thank you, ma'am.
There you
And
go.
she was
You're a
great.
horror nerd.
Exactly. Yes.
I mean, on brand, 24/7.
Yeah.
How many other movies did Jaws open the door for? I mean, and no pun intended, but I think Hollywood smelt blood in the water after Jaws came out.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. John, what other shark films do you enjoy?
Well, I mean, I think I like a lot of eco horror, so not necessarily shark, but I like Piranha, Joe Dante's Piranha,
Fun one.
Yes.
which I think Spielberg has, I think, gone on record as saying that he loves.
Nice.
I mean, Orca the Killer Whale, 1977.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A beautiful film shot in Newfoundland, Canada. I mean, I love that film. I went to my buddy Zach's house when I was a kid. It was like my first sleepover, and his dad had HBO, so we watched Alligator, which is rad. It like eats people and busts out of the sewer. The premise is basically like this little kid, his parents make him flush a little baby alligator down the toilet. Fast forward 10 years, it's subsisted on sewage. It's now a monster. And then it just wreaks havoc in the cities. And there's a great wedding scene at the end, which I'm sure you remember. I mean, it's popcorn cheese. It's great. There's so many ripoffs of Jaws that are fun if you can just enjoy them for what they are. There's no other Jaws, but yeah, we could talk
Yeah.
all night about this.
Yeah. Jaws wasn't camp. It was pure like
Not at all.
hell. Yeah. So I feel like a lot of camp horror animal films kind of were inspired by it, maybe a little bit. Like Lake Placid. Can we give that a nod? I love Lake Placid. Betty
Yeah.
White. my goodness, Betty White is an icon in that
Lake
movie.
Placid's great. I remember when they started teasing Deep Blue Sea when we were
Yeah,
kids.
oh, I
And, like,
love
Mhm.
seeing some of those teaser images of like the scuba diver and the shark, like I was like, whoa, like that.
Yeah.
I was so hyped for that as a kid.
It had one of the most shocking deaths of a main character that
Oh,
completely
right.
did not expect that to happen, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely.
John, not only do we deal with, offshoots of Jaws with, sharks and things of that nature, Orca too, we kind of put into that same group, but there's a lot of films during that era. I don't think, in 2025, if you haven't been a historian of film in the 60s and 70s, there's so many films that were created that are just lost to time because they weren't transferred or because something happened. There's so many great films that are just sitting in someone's garage, just waiting to be found. And there was another one in New England that John had heard about, and I didn't even know about this one. John, what was the movie Snapper about? Because you've done a lot of work on uncovering this whole film. So tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Snapper was an attempt to make a movie that was never made. So I know these guys in Worcester, Massachusetts, who are still making films. They're in their 60s now. These guys were film school buddies back in the day. And they tried to make Jaws in a pond with a snapping turtle. So their idea was we're gonna put this thing on a credit card. We're gonna shoot it on 16 millimeter. We're gonna build an animatronic turtle. And their idea was let's make a trailer to then try to sell as a concept to get the whole thing made. And I mean, they lit a guy on fire and threw him off a building. I mean, they went for it. And then the project fell apart. So I was talking to one of the guys, and before I even knew about this, and he said, well, we were talking about Jaws, obviously, probably. And he said, well, we tried to make a Jaws movie about a snapping turtle. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I kind of forgot about it for a week. And then he started texting me photos of the production. And they were like in a real pond with like a real turtle head and like fake blood. And I was like, wow, that looks really cool, man. And he's like, yeah, I still have all the reels and all the stuff. And I was like, huh. So just, I don't know, the idea hit me of like, why don't we try to make a short documentary about this movie that they tried to make that never went anywhere? And I thought there could be value in there because a lot of us tried to make movies when we were kids that were just like for fun. And so I didn't really know what I was doing with the story, but we just jumped into it. And the story became more about like these two guys and their perseverance of trying to make movies and write scripts, and they're still doing it today. And anyway, it turned into this little short doc that we did that was about 30 minutes long called Snapper, the man-eating turtle movie that never got made. And it played festivals, and it's streaming, and it's blah, blah, blah. But that kind of turned me on to this idea of like lost films or unmade films, because obviously like the number of films that make it to market that we all consume is a fraction of what gets made or attempts to get made. I mean, there was a Romero film, right, a couple of years ago that they found that was a lost movie. So, I mean, there's so much kind of cool, untapped stuff out in the world. And I don't know. I resonated with those dudes of just like trying to make shit and like just throw your credit card at it and let's just see what happens. There was something relatable. So
100%.
Yeah.
100%. You get so committed. It's like another child. Like, from parent to parent, it's like a kid for a parent of fur babies. It's like when you get involved in that process, that becomes you. And it's a passion that not everybody has, but my God, when we all meet each other and we can relate and talk to it, that's the best conversations on the planet. And you will always find out something new. And the fact that I have the VHS of Snapper, thanks to John, I love it. That was a great, great job in making a VHS batch of that film. It's perfectly appropriate for it. So on the nostalgia train, yeah, that really hit and checked all the boxes for me. But, John, we talk about all the films that you've worked on. I mean, we need to do a whole separate episode on It and Pennywise, because last year John rolled into Silver Scream Con with all of his It props and costumes from the Tim Curry film, and people were stopping by his booth nonstop and talking. And that's the best part about John. He is plug your ears, John. He is.
I was going to say, I'm going to leave in a moment.
He's the nicest person I've ever met in my life. And I remember when I was filming the Spectacular doc, running around Rock and Shock, he saw me with the camera running around. And he's like, "Do you need help? Can I help in any way? What can I help with?" Like, that's just who he is. And that's honestly what New England is like. It's like, how can we help each other with our filmmaking endeavors? We're all very supportive up here because, and it's no knock on Hollywood. Hollywood's a well-oiled machine, but there's so many tales from the history we have up here that just didn't get the funding, or like the struggles with Snapper, things like that. It's like we can get into how Friday the 13th was made. They were lucky in making. Sean Cunningham was literally using Boston investors for that. It was either fund the film or fund a strip mall in Weymouth. That's what it was. But yeah, New England has lots of roots in horror, in monster film, you name it. And I'm probably omitting 1,000 of them. But John,
Well, I mean,
kinda
having
look at
Stephen
John
King
as the
here
keeper
helps,
of this.
Having King here helps. That's always helped. We're
Mhm.
Stephen King country.
Definitely.
God.
And that for me, by the way, that was my first ever horror film was It. I was 8. And it gave me such brutal nightmares. I was so fucking terrified for so long. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember like nightmares that you have had as a kid, but
Mhm.
probably one of the worst nightmares I've ever had that I still remember vividly to this day was recently after, and I was 8, after watching that movie, I had a dream that Pennywise was chasing me through a Target, and I woke up screaming. So, I mean, I was like fascinated and terrified at the same time, had many, many nightmares. I would space it out. I would wait like a year. Okay, I'm a big girl, shit again. It killed me again. And then I would wait another year. I would try again, still night terrors. But they would I would, okay, let me try in 6 months. Okay, let me try in 2 months. And I think, I was so afraid of it that my dad, for some reason, had a white glove just laying around the house. I don't know. I was convinced that Tim Curry was going to just morph into this glove and it was going to come. I made him burn it in the fireplace. I was so scared. And then I remember living up north for a year and my backyard was like a creek and I wouldn't do the dishes. And it wasn't because I didn't want to do the dishes. It was because it was pitch black into like the woods. I'm like, he's out there. I can't look. If I look out this window, he's going to appear. So I always got in trouble for not doing dishes. And then when I got to 5th grade, I think, I watched it again. And because I had so much pent up fear and rage and everything, the last time I watched, I was like, fuck you, you fucking clown, I'll fuck you up. I started screaming at the TV and I think I got all of that out. And now I feel like me and Pennywise are like BFFs. Now I love it. I can watch it all the time. But it really put me through it as a kid. That was my movie that put me through it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that scene in the bathroom with the blood in the
Ugh.
sink, like that
Ugh.
freaked me out so badly. And to make it worse, it was my mom doing the Pennywise voice outside of the bathroom when I was in there after watching that movie.
No.
I know. Normally she wasn't
asshole.
mean like that, but that time, like I will never forget that and being so scared and being like, that's not funny. I think I was like 10 or something. It was mean. I still
The
remember
troll is
that. Yeah.
strong in your family.
Huh?
The troll is strong in your family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot
But
of
now
that
that
there.
now that we're older, we're like, all right, Dad, that was pretty funny. That was good job, Mom. That was pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Got me.
Give
Good
it
on
20
ya.
years. It's funny, but at the time,
I
it's
know.
not.
It wasn't not at the time. Definitely not at the time. Nothing else got me. It was just the beauty of Tim Curry being as brilliant as Tim Curry is. Like, my goodness. Yeah.
Well,
And
it's crazy that you say that because I have one of his screen used Pennywise suits like 5 feet behind me hanging up.
you want to go get it or like?
I do. If I can figure out how to unblur my background. Hold on.
How exciting.
Comes bearing gifts.
My God.
What the hell? Oh my God.
There it is.
Oh my God. Tim Curry's DNA is in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
there it is.
That.
that's
I'll show you the
insane.
feet is what really gets me because you'll remember these with his little shoes.
Oh yeah. Oh, those fucked me up. Those little
Mhm.
ruffles were terrifying for some reason. I don't know. It just made it creepier. Like, why does the killer have ruffles?
We are
Anyway,
going
there
to
you
have
go.
to do. We are going to have to do an It Pennywise episode and have you on for that, John.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 1000%.
It would be criminal if we didn't invite you on.
Criminal. Wow. And how did that come into your possession?
So when we were filming the doc about the miniseries, we were up in Vancouver and we interviewed Monique, who was the costume designer. And she knew that I was like rabid for the miniseries. I had a similar experience as you, Samantha, like growing up with it. And it was just like it touched a nerve.
Yeah.
And she was like starting to retire at that time. This was 2017. And she brought it to the interview to film, for us to film. And she said, you know, it's been in my costume archives for 30 years at that point. And before she left, she's like, I want you to have it. And so she gave it to me.
Did you cry? I would have cried.
Kind of.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
And then like going through customs from Canada, coming back to the States was really funny because one of the guys asked me something like, what's, and I was like, oh, it's a clown suit. And then I think it was just sort of like, get the fuck out of here. Like, this is insane.
They're like, listen, John Wayne Gacy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You
Like,
wear it through customs?
I didn't wear it, no, but I had it packed in my carry-on because I was not checking that bag.
Hell no.
Oh,
way.
no.
But they were like, what is this? I was like, don't worry about it.
I would have bought like a plane ticket for it. It would have its own seat. It would be in first class. It would have a cocktail.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever it wants. Thank you. Wow, that's
Amazing.
amazing.
All right,
All
John.
right, guys.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. I'm in love to
Appreciate
the
it.
family. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, guys.
Talk
Thank
to you later.
See ya.
See ya.
Hello, scary movie lovers. We are back at the Hollywood Improv, May 15th, 7:30 in the lab for the Dead in the Water edition. All of our comics are talking about all scary movies that have to do with the body of water. Looking at you, Jason Voorhees, you drowned. Sorry, dude. Jaws, of course, Deep Blue Sea, Lake Placid. Betty White is like feeding people to a crocodile. It's kind of rad. The Fog, all of that goes. It's gonna be epic. So grab your tickets now. They are on sale May 15th, 7:30, Hollywood Improv in the lab. We will see you for the Dead in the Water edition.
This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the conclusion of the Horror Nerds Comedy Podcast, sanctioned by Horror Nerds Productions. All authorized screams, laughter, and unhinged opinions of Class 4 have now been safely contained. During this broadcast, all tangents, puns, and unsolicited horror takes were permitted without consequence. Emergency podcast services will resume after this brief transmission. Blessed be our final girls and our Horror Nerds founders, a podcast reborn. May humor be with you all.